describe myself these days more than anything else as a student. I have had a very interesting life. I originally come from Bangladesh. I went to U.S. when I was 17 years old, and then life started there. I've been part of Fortune 500, built companies, raised money, got fired by my board, invested, run the companies to the ground, restarted companies. And when I was young, I thought I was going to be an entrepreneur. I was going to be a technologist. So I've done that. But what I never predicted that accidentally I will become an author. So, and as I have written, this is one of my several books, meaning the one that Roddy just shared with you. And this has been very much of a personal journey. Part of the reason it has been a personal journey, we talk about leadership, we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about innovation, we talk about creativity. What I realized sitting at an airport a couple of years ago is that, this is really about human journey, and we all have our stories, war stories, winning, loses, all those kind of stories. And it kind of daunted to me that it's about human journey. And so I actually like to say that to be a leader, first you have to be a human. And you have to connect with yourself before you can lead other people. And then you can perhaps create value that has any meaning. And value, the definition of value could be many different things. Could be that you want to change people's lives. Could be that you can make gobs of money. Or it could be that you want to take your organization to the next level. Or maybe you want to be Picasso and create the next greatest art piece. So value, definition of value is different for different people. So it all starts with yourself. So, and it's very paradoxical, just like life is very paradoxical, as I was saying to you earlier today. I mean, when we were having those discussions that, what is work is life and what is life is work, right? I mean, it's this conversation about, we need work-life balance. It's kind of doesn't work, because how can you be somebody at work and somebody else at home and then try to balance all that? It doesn't really work. So from that point of view, we talk about systemic thinking and holistic thinking, and we talk about psychological thinking. So all this actually connects, and all of these is very, very paradoxical. So somewhere in the book, I had a quote from Lao Tzu, which says that, life is, be like the water, because water is fluid, and what is soft is what's strong. So it kind of goes like that, meaning that without having a deep understanding of yourself, you cannot really lead people where you want them to go, because if you don't know who you are, and it doesn't really matter whether you are a CEO, you're a board member, you're a product developer, or let's say you're an author, all of those roles has similar kind of connotation, maybe smaller scale or greater scale, but it all starts with yourself. So, and so I have this, and I'm going to just talk around some of the things that we've written in the book. I had a co-author. He's a journalist. He and I have come from a very different background, but he did a lot of this research, talking to a lot of the senior people all over the world. And not just senior people, we interview chefs, we interview artists, and it's been a fascinating learning process while writing this book. So, our individual and interpersonal and organizational life is all interconnected. And if you start thinking from that point of view, that's when we can start realizing what leadership means and what creation means and what innovation means. And it comes to that. We're lunchtime. I didn't say anything. I was just smiling. I was standing at one of the table, and somebody brought up this notion of authenticity. That authenticity and leadership goes hands in hand. Because if you look at any leader in any field, whether it's Steve Jobs or Picasso, or whether it's somebody who runs a killer sushi restaurant, like you probably saw that, that documentary called Zero Dream, right? The Zero and O. I actually had a chance to eat at his restaurant, and this man has been making sushi for 80 years, and there's only 10 tables and only 10 stools, and And that's all he does, right? And that's his authentic calling in life. So how can his leadership is any different than somebody else's leadership, right? This authentic calling allows us to be devotional, in the sense that, I think Vin was talking about that best athletes and best performer goes and repeatedly does the very basic thing over and over again. And if you look at that point of view, and we talk about mindfulness, which I'll talk about in a minute, you have to be very aware of who you are, and that's when you become a leader, right? Because then you know what you stand for, you can lead other people from that point of view. But in order to be aware and to be leader, you have to actually be good at something, right? So that being good at something comes from being very devoted and building up a set of skills that you can call it your own. And it's really, truly, each one of us our own. Stephen Pressfield has this line about being genius. Genius is in everybody. But how we cultivate that geniusness in our own way, that kind of manifests into a reality, right? And by the way, all the stuff that I'm talking about, this came from repeatedly failing, creating complex things, selling to large corporations, missing the market, and so every single one of us go through many transitions in life, right? Just like an organization goes through many transitions, because today's organization tomorrow is going to be obsolete, and tomorrow's organization is going to be something else. Just like as we grow, we become different people, right? But you have to have that devoted practice of creating a craft or capability, if you talk about an organization, that allows you to go to the next level and the next level and the next level. But authenticity has people who are authentic pay a deep price, in the sense that you suffer because your great idea doesn't take off. So if you look at authors and writers, or you look at an artist, or you look at companies, we all talk about Steve Jobs all the time. He failed several times and company almost went bankrupt. Pixar is not a very different story. You can also look at my previous employer, which was GE, not different story. We had this huge financial practice called GE Capital. We built it up, we turned it down, and now they are building it up again. So authentic calling, authentic brand, authentic personalities or leadership suffer. And this is what the resiliency, there was a little bit of talk about resiliency earlier on. Resiliency is a key factor to cultivate that authenticity. And you have to actually really embrace that notion of suffering. And if we don't embrace that notion of suffering, we lose our way, right? And that's where mindfulness also comes in, because there's a deep connection between short-term and long-term, which I'll talk about. I'll actually end the talk with that. So this authentic calling is what makes us true leader, and that's what allows us to create and innovate and to create the long-term value, because it requires us to be very devoted whatever it is that we're trying to do. So, and the reason it's deeply related to leadership, because nobody succeeds in silo, right? Author, singer, companies, people, nobody succeeds in silo. And the people you surround yourself either makes you successful or doesn't make you successful. It's very fundamental. Nothing new about this, right? Everybody knows this intuitively. Yet, we repeatedly miss that point. I hired so many people that are completely wrong people. I brought in investors, completely wrong investors. And I brought in board members, completely wrong board members, right? But so there's that paradoxical thing. Should we believe in our gut? Should we do this massive analytical process to figure out who's the right partner, who's not the right partner? All that is part of the game, and there is actually no right answer or wrong answer. The question is how we react when the wrong answer shows up at our door, and how we adapt to that process makes us successful or makes us failure. And as a matter of fact, there is no failure. Failure is the foundation for tomorrow's success, right? So if you look at it from that point of view, it's trial and error what gets us there. I remember, because I'm a tech entrepreneur and I love technology, I still have this original PDA that Apple had. I forgot what they used to call it, this thick and this big. It's like a brick, you know. And then if you look at that compared to an iPad or iPhone, I mean, it's a completely different thing. And then I won't give you enterprise example, but because I come from an enterprise enterprise technology background, which are even more complex. I mean, the way we used to do supply chain and way we used to do sales automation or way we used to do logistics or financial analysis are quite different the way we look at it now, right? There's art, science, all that has converged together, right? So from that point of view, you know, we not only had to learn that nobody succeeds alone, the notion of the team creation has also changed. And I like to use this word called that people who build great organization are purposefully omnivorous. And I actually use this word in the book called purposefully omnivorous. The notion is people who wants to create successful team, they got to be able to experience and bring on experience that comes from a diverse viewpoint, right? So greatest chefs in the world eats everything.